Today on Commander Replay, we're back with some more Ghired Conclave Exile every extra combat spell. Can Ghired finally win the mirror match? Find out next on Commander Replay. I want to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have two new Patreon supporters in Michael Rezka and Mira Carpenter. You guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Welcome back, everyone. Playing some more Ghired Conclave Exile, and we've got a weird opening hand right here. No mana ramp other than the Myriad Landscape, a Wheel of Fortune, a Godo, and a Balefire Dragon. Think I'm gonna try it? Strange hand. I would not mind catching a Signet or something like that along the way. But anyway, that'll bring it to our turn one. We draw into this Fires of Yavimaya. It gives us haste, which is a pretty good thing to have. So let's lay down this Myriad Landscape, and we'll pass turn like that. Now, one thing that I meant to do before the game was add a more responsible amount of removal, and I completely forgot to do that, so that's a thing. However, there is a Child of Alara at the table, and that will probably solve all of everyone's removal needs, in that no one will probably ever have permanents on the battlefield. So once again, we are playing Ghired Conclave Exile, every additional combat spell. There's about 15 of them, give or take, and we've got all of them. So I played this deck once already, and ran into some trouble against a Stacks deck, and just played terribly against it. So hopefully I play a little bit better today. Hopefully no stacks at the table, though we do have the repeated board wipe-ness of this Child of Alara, which can be very, very scary, especially for what we're trying to do. But anyway, yeah, I'm excited to run this one down there. We'll talk about it in just a second. Brings it back to our turn two. We draw into another land. Do we just go for tap land? Yeah, let's just go for tap land. Why not? Nothing going on 2 mana. So Ghired Conclave Exile, 2 in Naya for a 2/5. Enters the battlefield, create a 4/4 green rhino creature token with trample. Whenever Ghired attacks, populate, the token enters the battlefield tapped and attacking. So pretty cool little commander. To me, this just screams extra combat tribal. And so we've got literally all of the extra combat spells in the deck. I noticed that there are a few things that this deck needs. Evasion on Ghired is really important. Because it's a 2/5, once bigger things start piling up on board, it does become very easy to block. So that can definitely be a thing. And that's going to be things like Iroas and Dolmen's Gate, stuff like that. Kind of help with the damage, or you can just give it flying, use like a Victory's Herald. Is not the worst thing I've ever seen, or anything else, maybe a Key to the City, anything else that gives evasion unblockable or prevents combat damage to your creature. Is all going to be really good stuff with this deck. Here comes a Tireless Tracker for the Child of Alara. It seems like a pretty good one. So that's going to bring it to our turn 3. We draw into this Signet. Makes things a little awkward. I was planning to crack the Myriad Landscape right here, but looks like we'll have to wait for another turn to do that. Opponent's going to fire off a Rapid Hybridization on the Tireless Tracker. I'm down for that. Tireless Tracker is a very good card. So they'll get a Beast token and won't have to deal with any of that Landfall Investigate nonsense. We'll resolve our fetch right here. Actually, you know what? I think I'm still going to crack the Myriad Landscape. Just because Signet is a much easier and faster play to do in the middle of doing other stuff, where if we don't do the Myriad Landscape now, we probably won't really have a chance to do it at any point. So I'm thinking I'm still just going to go with the Myriad Landscape right here. Play the Myriad Landscape. We've got a lot of red in hand. I guess we are getting 2 mountains. So get 2 mountains into play. Pass the turn. Next turn, we could go like Fires and Signet, and then the following turn, cast our commander with haste. Doesn't sound terrible. There are not a ton of equipments in this deck. Most of the ones in here are Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots, and that's for the protection and haste aspect. So there's not too much crazy stuff to get with this Godo, but it is an extra combat spell, and therefore it's in our deck. Taking a look at what our opponents are playing, our first opponent is Vermilion Nintendo, also piloting Ghired Conclave Exile. And they've got theirs into play. He is a big fan of the Mana Dorks. I am less a fan of the Mana Dorks because they do get blown up in board wipes, so I don't love that. I prefer the more resilient ramp in things like either Rampant Growths or Signets or stuff like that. Explosive Vegetation, Skyshroud Claim, especially when you can get those down. Those are really nice. But they do get their own Ghired into play. They've got their token, and they're going to be ready to start swinging away next turn. Here's a Cultivate for the Child of Alara opponent. Moving on to our second opponent, next up we have Chaotix 2075 piloting Arixmethes Slumbering Isle, a really cool and flavorful commander. One that I should probably build in paper, quite honestly. It's just a fun little deck. So for those that don't remember, Arixmethes, 2 green-blue for a 12/12. Enters the battlefield tapped with 5 slumber counters on it. As long as Arixmethes has a slumber counter on it, it's a land and not a creature. Whenever you cast a spell, you may remove a slumber counter from Arixmethes, and you can tap it to add green-blue to your mana pool. Just a sweet, sweet card. Basically, you awaken the beast, and I don't know, it's just a really cool card. It's huge. It's 12/12. You can play Sea Creature Tribal with it if you want to, or you can do just more of a build-around-me, Voltron-y kind of thing with a lot of cheap spells. Kind of another way to go with it. Just a really flavorful card, and I don't know, one of those cards that I really enjoy and just makes me happy. Makes me happy to see an Arixmethes. Anyway, with that, opponent lays down a Birds of Paradise, and that'll bring it back to our turn. There's a Hellkite Charger. That is one of our extra combat spells. What are we doing right here? We'll be on 5 mana, which means we have 2 choices. We can either go for the Fires and the Signet, or we can just go straight for our commander to get some blockers, which is not the worst idea. There are some mounting threats on board. I'm thinking that might be the way to go right here. Yeah, let's get the Taiga, and then let's cast our commander. I think the blocking is important. That should convince opponent to swing elsewhere and not at us. So lately I've been really hot on this idea of funneling. Just having blockers and giving incentive for opponents to attack other places can be a really powerful tool, especially in the early to mid game. You know, a classic example is when you play a Solemn Simulacrum, no one wants to attack you because they don't want to give you the card draw. For that reason, even just beyond the mana ramp and the card draw, which are both excellent on that card, the fact that it forces people to attack elsewhere just makes it so good. So yeah, and we saw that a little bit with Promicon, where the deck is entirely about funneling creatures in the direction you want them to go. But I'm really big on this idea right now of, you know, giving incentive for opponents to attack elsewhere, and that's what they're doing right here. So Ghired into the Child of Alara opponent, 1 token into the Child of Alara opponent, and the other token into the Arixmethes, and we're going to stay at 39 as a result of this attack. While other opponents are going to be losing some life, so 36 and 33 they go, and opponent does block the Ghired with the Frog Lizard, so they both exchange some damage, but neither kill each other, so yep. Here comes a Wood Elves. Wood Elves is going to get to find a land. Here comes a Mimic Vat. That thing is Value City. And Arixmethes is going to activate their Makokoro, so everyone gets a draw card. We find a Plains. They're going to play themselves a Scry Temple. Here comes a Sylvan Library. Opponent just pointed out, the Populated Rhino comes in as a token creature. That's pretty funny. Here comes Child of Alara. They do not appear to have a way to blow it up yet, so that's good news. Does make me hesitant about trying to commit too much to the board. I guess that's the question. What do you do now when Child of Alara is in play? They don't have a sack outlet yet, but I mean, are we just going to pass without doing much? Ideally, if we could catch like a Cultivate this turn or something like that, something that does not get blown up by the Child of Alara, that would be probably the most ideal. There's an Elemental Bond, normally a very good card, but again, with Child of Alara, super scary, although our card draw is looking pretty good at the moment. Opponent did activate that Makokoro, and we've also got the Wheel of Fortune in hand. Let's play the Misty Rainforest, crack the Misty Rainforest. Let's get something. We've got 2 white sources, 4 red sources, 2 green sources. Maybe a little white-green seems good right here. Get the Savannah. Do we go for Godo and just start attacking things? Maybe. Yeah, I think we should. So cast Godo. Godo will get to search for an equipment. We do have Whisper Silk Cloak in the deck, but that will most definitely get blown up by the Child of Alara, so I don't know how I feel about that. Let's just get the Lightning Greaves right here. I forgot that I put Mask of Memory and Sword of the Animist in the deck. This is a combat-centric deck, so it does make sense to have those things. Put the boots on the Godo. We'll send a little attack into the other Ghired. Godo will trigger, and Ghired will trigger. And we'll put the other token in against the Arixmethes. One's going to block with the Wood Elves, sure. Now, one thing that I did not consider is that we're not going to have super good blocking left after this play, so that's maybe not the best, but... Ooh, opponent gets Wood Elves under the Mimic Vat. That seems pretty good. Godo could block Ghired, but it's not going to be able to block any of the tokens, so I guess we swing away into the Arixmethes. So, Ghired down to 34, Arixmethes down to 29. Our final opponent, by the way, is Fish Said Fish, piloting Child of Alara, which we've talked about a little bit already. Opponent will activate the Mimic Vat and get themselves a Wood Elves and another land. Anyway, Child of Alara, whenever it dies, destroy all non-land permanents. They can't be regenerated. This is the no one gets to have permanents in play ever commander. And typically you want a bit of graveyard removal against Child of Alara because it does have to die, which means it needs to go to the graveyard for that ability to trigger. And the deck's probably going to be full of ways to get it back from the graveyard, where if you can exile it and get it into the command zone, or just have like a Rest in Peace in play, that's going to do better things for you, as opposed to letting them just let it die, get it back from the graveyard, keep doing it, and keep blowing up the board repetitively. Opponent gonna swing into us with the Ghired and 2 Wood Elves. That's fine. We poked them for a little bit. Completely okay taking a little pokes back right there. Definitely deserved it. Opponent leaving the 2 Rhinos back. Pretty interesting. Maybe thinking they can't really get through the Child of Alara profitably and don't want to provoke the Child of Alara. I think I'm actually in the opposite boat. I think next turn, I think we're just going to go for the Child of Alara. Maybe. We'll see. We'll see. Here comes a Sylvan Library trigger for the Arixmethes. Here comes an Eternal Witness. Let's see what they're grabbing. Rapid Hybridization? Yep, only target available. So, they've got a Rapid Hybridize. Shard Convergence. Search your library for a plains, an island, a swamp, and a mountain. Reveal those and put them into your hand. Here comes Inspiring Statuary for the Child of Alara. Yep. Here comes a Vandal Blast. I don't think it's overloaded. Looks like it's just targeting the Mimic Vat. Ooh, opponent's gonna Teferi's Protection. Okay. Oh, and opponent's gonna Rapid Hybridize with the Teferi's Protection on the stack. Nice. Nice. All right, this does a bunch of good things right here. Oh, they're gonna lay down a Heroic Intervention. Wow. Well, all right, so we're cleaning them out of protection spells. I guess they could still have a Boros Charm, but 2 of the better ones right here going down. Heroic Intervention and Teferi's Protection. We will lose a bunch of things, but we should be able to start recasting stuff now that this Child of Alara is going to be gone. Ooh. Opponent did not send the child to the graveyard, thus nothing gets blown up. I wonder if that was a choice. Yeah, okay, so they made an intentional choice not to blow up the Child of Alara, because that would put Vermilion Nintendo very far ahead. So yeah, I get what they're doing. I get it. That makes sense. Oh, that's an Inferno Titan. We can do some stuff with that. Doesn't have haste, though. I think I'm going to go for Elemental Bond, Fires, and Signet. Play the Plains, and we should have exactly enough to do all of that. Get the Signet, get Fires, get Elemental Bond, do some attacking. Send 2 tokens into the Child of Alara. Send Godo into the Arixmethes. Ghired into the Arixmethes. Godo will trigger. Ghired will trigger. Create a copy of Rhino token. I guess we'll also send that into the Child of Alara. Elemental Bomb will trigger. We'll get to draw a card. It's a Swords to Plowshares. Godo will trigger. Opponent's going to block with the Eternal Witness. Sure. And opponent will block with a Frog Lizard. Double block with the Frog Lizard. Take down one of our tokens. And go to our next combat. Let's see, Frog Lizard's a 3-3. I guess we're sending Godo back into Arixmethes. So, Arixmethes down to 19, and Child of Alara down to 25. Here comes Vivian, Champion of the Wilds. You may cast creature spells as though they had flash. That seems pretty good. And look at the top 3 cards of your library. Exile one face down. Put the rest in the bottom. For as long as it remains exiled, you may look at that card, and you may cast it if it's a creature card. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I haven't actually seen that one, really, out of War of the Spark yet. There's, Narset's shown up a bunch of times. A few other Planeswalkers have been shown up a bunch. Have not seen so much Vivian. Ghired going full scale into the Arixmethes. I would have picked Child of Alara, quite honestly. That's the one that's a bit scarier to me. Now, if we untap with all of our stuff, I'm thinking Inferno Titan. Actually, we could Balefire Dragon. Maybe Balefire Dragon. Try to wipe the Ghired opponent. Chaotic said they should not have kept their opening hand down to 7 after this attack, taking big hits. And Arixmethes passes with no action. They could have instant speed stuff. Probably leave them alone for a minute. Let someone else deal with them. Child of Alara back to play. Still don't see any instant speed sack outlets, so that's good. They would need to use some sort of removal spell if they wanted to blow it up. Chaotic says he swears he has creatures in the deck. He just drew all interaction. Yeah, that happens sometimes. Opponent's going to crack a Croson Verge. Yep. At the end step, opponent's going to Mimic Vat. Yep. Get themselves a Wood Elves. That does give them more blocking power against us, and that's going to be a pretty big deal right here, I think. See what we draw. We draw a Mask of Memory. Ooh. We've got 8 mana total, which it would only be enough for Balefire Dragon and Swords, which I think is probably going to be the right call. Or we can go Inferno Titan. Balefire Dragon's probably better with the haste in this moment. So, cast a Balefire Dragon. Get an Elemental Bond trigger. Forgot about that one. Ooh, we draw a Dracuseth. That'll be a fine backup plan should Balefire Dragon go down. I'm going to do some attacking into the other Ghired opponent. Send the Balefire Dragon at them, send some tokens, send 1 token into the Planeswalker, send Godo their way, and Ghired their way. Get a Godo trigger, get a Ghired trigger, and opponent's got some kind of interaction. It's an Angel of Sanctions. Okay. Opponent's gonna... Ooh, opponent's gonna no escape, counter target creature or planeswalker spell. If it's countered this way, exile it instead of putting it into the graveyard. Nice. So they're gonna be taking a hit. They're gonna be taking a hit. So we're gonna copy up one of these rhinos. We'll also swing that into the Ghired opponent. Get another elemental bond trigger. That's a relentless assault. Won't have the mana for it this turn, sadly. Chaotix is gonna play a Predator Strike. Can't tell what it's targeting. What's it targeting? Targets the Wood Elves. Okay, so that's going to kill our Godo. So nice plays by Chaotix. Making sure that we're both going to lose a lot of stuff right here. Oh, we're going to get a Godo under Mimic Vat? That seems real bad. Balefire Dragon will trigger. 6 damage to all of opponent's stuff. So all their things going down. Our Godo goes down. We have a second combat, but we have nothing we can declare. We'll put the boots on the Balefire Dragon. Balefire Dragon seems like one that people may try to blow up. And we will pass the turn like that. Can't tell what's under the... yep, okay. Godo was under the Mimic Vat. That seems like a good one. Here comes their Godo. Gonna make a copy with the Mimic Vat. Gets themselves... Ooh, a Helm of the Host. Alright. Well, gonna have to respond to that. Turn off all the auto yields. Opponent's gonna try to equip the Helm of the Host. I'm thinking not. We will Swords on the Godo. Godo token gets exiled. And the good thing about that is that was a very expensive mana play from our opponent. Took them, what, 7 mana to do all that, so... They don't have a lot left that they can do, and they're down to 2 cards, so we should be able to just clean them up pretty easily. Ooh! Chaotix takes the extra draw, goes down to 3 life. Now I might just try to kill him with the Dracuseth trigger, but we'll see what happens here. It'd be sweet if we could draw a Fury of the Horde and just exile 2 cards instead of paying the mana cost. That would be the most ideal right here. Here comes a Green Sun Zenith X5. Acidic Slime? Acidic Slime. You go Helm or you go Mimic Vat. Helm of the Host. Fine choice. Fine choice. Down for it. That does take away the urgency of having to kill opponent immediately. But we've still also got a lot of power on board, and we've got extra combat spells lined up, so yeah. Opponent going to send the Child of Alara over to the other Ghired opponent. Changes their mind. Goes for it once again. Questions it a second time. They're going to swing it into the Arixmethes. They can block with the Acidic Slime and blow up all the stuff. Makes me sad. Makes me sad. Oh, God. Alright, Child of Alara is going to blow everything up. Child of Alara could go under the Mimic Vat, but should take care of the Mimic Vat on the way out. Oh, right. Child of Alara does have Trample, and that does kill Chaotix. I think they forgot about that. Player down. Player down. Opponent passes with a bunch of mana open. That seems fantastically suspect. What are we doing right here? We've got a Combat Celebrant. I think I'm going to go for Combat Celebrant, Mask of Memory. And pass like that. Ghired back to play. So the Ghired opponent doesn't have a ton of cards in hand. They're down to 3, but they did get a lot of lands off of the Wood Elves and the Mimic Vat, so they do have a lot of mana, which means, you know, they could still potentially have a lot of actions that they could take. Recasting their commander, much easier for them than it is for us at this moment. Here comes a Reese the Redeemed. Yeah, that seems like a good one. So Child of Alara didn't do anything at the end step. Maybe they just don't have anything. Maybe that's all possible. Recasting Child of Alara. I think it's on 9 right there. So definitely going to want to try to get them in the air if we can. Ooh, that's a Rishkar's expertise. We could draw 4 cards and get something 5 or less for free? I think I'm going to hold off on that for just 1 second. I think we're going for the Hellkite Tyrant right here. I do want to start making land drops, though. Hopefully the Mask of Memory will get us into a land drop. So cast the Hellkite Charger. Equip the Mask onto the Hellkite Tyrant. I don't think it's really worth attacking with the Combat Celebrant just yet, is my feeling. Oh, maybe it is, because, yeah, we have... well, if we do, we'll draw 4 cards. Yeah, I think we're doing it. So we're going to send Combat Celebrant into the Ghired and Hellkite Charger into the Child of Alara. We'll get 2 triggers right there. Can't afford the Hellkite Charger. Opponent's got, Generous Gift. No! Why would they Generous Gift the one that's not attacking them? Oh, that seems awful. Opponent going to throw their commander in front. Yep, this is going to hurt. Did not count on that. Well, that all hurt very badly. Ghired into us. Token into us. Ouch. Another token into us. Alright, opponent's got eyes for us. We'll block the Ghired, take the 2 tokens. Opponent's going to Enlighten Tutor. Let's see what they're going for. They get a Maelstrom Nexus. Oh, yeah, that seems bad. Opponent's focusing us. I don't know that that's correct. Here comes that Maelstrom Nexus. Unfortunately, the opponent has the ability to double up on their tokens right here. That's not amazing. Could really use haste on our Inferno Titan, and then blow up the Child of Alara. Blowing up the Child of Alara, or some sort of instant speed thing, would be ideal. Child of Alara are going to swing over to the Ghired opponent, and Reese is going to double up the tokens. There's two 4/4s. Oh, and that's a Rootborn defense. Now, I probably would have done that in response to a Child of Alara trigger. Double block on the Child. Sends it back to the command zone. No trigger. We draw a land. We have 2 basics. We'll play the land. We're in a tough spot. Thinking about the Wheel of Fortune, but we don't really have, like, tons of removal anyway. We have a Blasphemous Act. We have an Austere Command. Most of our removal is creature-based, so... And that'd be most of the creatures in our hand. The creatures in our hand are just very slow. I think our best bet's still the creatures in our hand. Get Dracuseth. I think we just need to go for our biggest play right here and hope it sticks. Play Dracuseth, equip the Mask of Memory to the Dracuseth. I guess we could have put it on the Elephant and swung into the thing, but we need blockers. We really need blockers. Who does opponent go for? Child of Alara is wide open, and they've got the Maelstrom Nexus, which can be super strong. Yep, they're going to go full tilt their way. Okay. Down for that. Means we may be able to do some things with Dracuseth right here. Also, we've got a double combat. That's 14 in the air. Ooh. If opponent doesn't have anything, we could actually just be lethal against them. Child of Alara goes down to the big hit, goes from 25 to -2. That is some damage. Gotta hope opponent doesn't have interaction right here. They've got a Blasphemous Act. Okay, reset the board. Luckily, opponent kind of wiped them out of all their protection spells. Opponent does have the mana to recast their commander, though. Yep, that seems good. There it is. Okay, we're gonna have to battle a little bit. There's a Mana Crypt. That's some much-needed mana right there. Play the Mana Crypt. Play Inferno Titan. Inferno Titan doesn't actually kill anything, does it? That's something to think about. I think we're still playing it. Play Inferno Titan. Gets 3 damage, nothing we can kill, so just shoot opponent in the face. Equip the Mask of Memory. Here comes a Kodama's Reach, sure. 1 card in hand. We don't know what it is. They'll get another card in hand. That'll be a land. They might just play it. Okay, so Signet. And their last card is a land, so I feel really good about the Rishkar's expertise. No attacks from opponent. Mana Crypt flip on us. Choosing Tails. I lost the flip. There's a Blasphemous Act. That'll be good if we get into some trouble. Let's go to combat. Ooh, they can kill... Opponent could double block and kill our Inferno Titan. Rishkar's expertise first, then? Yeah, I guess Rishkar's first. Cast Rishkar's expertise. World at War doesn't seem overly helpful. Mother of Ruins might be. Tristani seems decent. Wow, I think we're actually going to have to stay put with the Inferno Titan. Opponent's down to 1 card, though, so as long as they don't top deck anything crazy, I think we're in a good spot. So, get Tristani, get Mother of Ruins. We'll gain 1 life. Play Tectonic Edge just in case some crazy land comes down or something. And, yeah, I think we're staying put. Yeah, because if we give our Inferno Titan protection next turn, then we can just end the game. So, yeah, we'll stay put right here. Late game Rishkar's expertise. Super helpful. Opponent saying GG. We didn't get to play it out. Well, we were going to take all the extra combats right there. See what was coming if we used the Wheel of Fortune. Lands, ramp, Aurelia. Hero Blade Hold. That Fury... Okay, so Fury of the Horde was not close. That was the one that I was hoping on, but... So, yeah. Ghired and every additional combat spell. Honestly, this is not the most optimal way to build this deck. A lot of these extra combat spells aren't the best. I don't personally love Hellkite Charger. You have to attack with it, and then you have to have the 7 mana, which means if you want to do it all at once, it's 13 mana. That's a lot. I don't care for Scourge of the Throne that much. After you attack a player one time, they no longer have the highest life total, so it doesn't always work, and a lot of times you find yourself with the highest life total. In this deck, Godo is slightly underwhelming in that nothing has Vigilance, so if you really wanted to focus on Godo, giving our stuff Vigilance would probably be a good idea, or like maybe a Samut to untap things. Some sort of untap ability. Ooh, you know what? Actually, Reconnaissance. Reconnaissance would be the right card. Actually, you know what? Reconnaissance should probably go in the deck anyway, so Godo with a Reconnaissance would do a lot more than it was doing in the game that we saw it in. So that one I found pretty underwhelming. Fury of the Horde is really hard to hardcast. However, the ability to exile 2 red cards in place of its mana cost can be pretty good because that can allow some wacky things, but overall, this isn't one that I typically run. Savage Beating, World at War, and Waves of Aggression are usually the extra combat spells that I look to the most, as well as Aggravated Assault and Aurelia. So, like, really, I would say having 5 or 6 really good extra combat spells is going to be better than running all 15 or so with the ones that are very mediocre. Honestly, this deck needs more removal, and it also needs more token focus. So, like, Desolation Twin is a really good card with Ghired, which we saw in the first game. Reese the Redeemed looked pretty good right there that we saw at the end once you got some mana for it. So, yeah, cutting down some of the combat spells and adding in some of the more token-based stuff is going to be a good idea. I think probably Cathar's Crusade is another one that you want. Get your Ghired pumped up nice and good. So yeah, this is a fun little meme deck to try out, but overall, it's moderately effective. Like, it's fine. If you really wanted to power the deck up, I would definitely cut some of the worst extra combat spells and go for something a little more potent. A lot of the token strategy stuff like we just talked about, and so on and so forth. So yeah, anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.